Kevin Costner, how you doing, buddy?
Took me a while to figure out this hotel phone. I got to tell you for sure, I feel like an imbecile.
Okay, apparently you're the only guy in Hollywood who's working this year. 3 movies already. What's up with that, man?
Yeah, well, I had 3 babies, and my wife said, you have to leave.
Oh, she's a smart girl.
Nice.
Earlier this week, your buddy Jim Wilson came through town on the 50-to-1 tour bus promoting the brand new movie 50-to-1. And I sat down with him and got to talk with him, and I asked him, what on earth did you do so bad in your life that has forced you to work with Kevin Costner so much?
That's so nice, Clint. Way to go.
Yikes.
Suck right up to him.
Yeah, and he had a great answer. And I don't know if you've ever heard this story or not, but he said, back in 81, he was working on this little tiny film, and Mickey Rourke nailed the audition. Then you came in right behind Mickey, and you nailed the audition. So he called his dad and said, what on earth am I supposed to do? Both the guys are great. And his dad said, take him out to dinner, and you'll be able to figure it out. He said, so I took Mickey Rourke out to dinner, and by the end of the evening, I knew that Kevin Costner was my guy.
Had you ever heard that before?
No, yeah, I did hear that, actually. Sometimes life comes down to, if you don't Jim at all, I had to pay for the meal.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, he said he only paid you like $500 a week or something like that.
It was the greatest moment. I got to tell you, I've been trying so hard to get a part because when you kind of tell people you're going to become an actor, the first thing or you are an actor. First thing is, well, what have you done? What have you done? What have you done? And of course, that's a big zero. And and after a while, you just don't really know what to tell people. So when Jim hired me, it seemed like a treasure to me. It was I was just really grateful to have that job.
So was that one of your first?
Yeah, well, it was, and when things started to finally happen for me, and I was going to direct Dances with Wolves, I probably could have had any producer that I wanted produce for me, and I thought back to this guy who had a lot of character, was a really great guy, and I said, why don't you be my producer? So I did, and he won the Academy Award with me. He was just a great guy because I knew he was quality. I don't always go with the pedigree of things in life. I go with kind of how I feel people are.
Yeah.
I don't take people out to dinner to figure it out, but
Can you pull off that phone just a tiny, tiny bit? You're kind of over-modulating just a little bit.
Okay, I'll back off if you tell me to. I can take orders a little bit.
Awesome. Can I now tell people that I've directed you?
You can tell them you bossed me around just a little bit.
Oh, that's great. Let's talk about your band, because I got to tell you, I've not had a chance to see you perform, though I know you're here in Nashville frequently, and I've heard some great things about it.
Well, I hope you guys come on the 26th. I think that's when we're playing at the War Memorial.
Yeah. April 26th.
And hopefully, if we're going to get up and talk this early in the morning, it feels a little early. It seems like you guys could get yourself together by that evening.
Oh, my.
You think?
But, yeah.
Maybe.
Boy,
Yeah,
oh boy.
that would be great. Come backstage and say hello. But, yeah, we're gonna play. My daughter will open for me, I think, Lily.
Cool.
And,
I might show up if you were Mickey Rourke.
Hey,
Oh.
let's not push it, Clint.
Yeah. All right, Clint.
I know, right?
I know.
Well, how did Kevin Costner and Modern West get together?
Well, John Coinman, two of the guys that are in Modern West, were in the first band I was ever in, and when I was back in Hollywood. And we weren't together that long, but I really enjoyed both of them. And I just find that I've been making movies around the world and being in communities for 2-3 months and never really kind of interacting, because, the autograph is so important these days, and the iPhone shot is just so important to people. And that's the extent of how you meet people. They don't really even want to talk. And I kept thinking, God, I wish I could, be around a bunch of people, and that wasn't the big thing. And I just went back to my music. I thought, well, if I want to be somewhere that long, maybe once or twice I'll just play in a club. And I thought, if I do that, I want to play original music. So I just did it again, and the band formed about 9 years ago, and we've now played all over the world.
Wow, that's cool. Isn't that amazing that you can have such a successful career in one field and then just turn around and be able to do something else that's completely...
Well, you can turn around. It doesn't always mean that you're not going to fall down. I mean, there's a bunch of people waiting to hand me my head, cut it off, watch it roll in the street.
Yeah, that's a lovely thought there, Kevin.
But that's okay. I've never really been afraid of that. What I was more afraid of was not doing the kind of thing that I loved. And I wasn't sure that it was going to lead to this because there's been no giant plan for me. Like I said, I just wanted to play where I was making a movie. So, I have the largest agency in the world representing me as an actor, but I have not asked them to get involved in my music career because there's no plan. And, there was no plan to ever make a record. We've made 4. There's no plan to tour. We've now done that. That's kind of typical of my life, though, that I just start to do something and then it unfolds. And but the biggest thing was that this wouldn't work unless the original music was at the forefront of it. And, people will come and sit for an hour and a half and listen to our brand of music. It's been really gratifying.
Since you mentioned the changes about autographs and the cell phone photos and stuff. Since you've been around making movies and stuff since like the 80s, more than 30 years now, what else have you seen change that's made you have to kind of change your tactics?
Well, I'm having to think about a lot of things. The kind of movies that I like to make versus the kind of bigger movies that cost over $200 million and things like that. And I just made a movie myself called Black and White. It's about the notion of racism, and no one would make it. And so my wife and we paid for it to make it. Very much like what Jim did with his 50 to 1. I have this tendency to put everything in the middle of the pot when you're gambling, and I felt that this was a really valuable movie. Studios think, well, how are we going to make a movie about that? And I just thought it was just really I thought it could be very beautiful, and I thought it could start a discussion when we're having so much difficulty actually having the discussion.
Yeah.
And it's very funny. It's poignant. So, there I go again, just like Dan's is paying to make a movie. I'm thinking, what in the world am I doing? And I think my wife feels the same thing. Kevin, what in the world are you doing? And I don't know. I only do what I feel like I should do, and that's kind of how the music happened. That's how coming to War Memorial on the 26th happened. If you come, you'll see a lot of the songs that you actually hear were written while I was making some of the movies you might have seen.
Very cool.
You also went to TV where a lot of big Hollywood actors are like, "Oh, I'll never do TV," and then you were you got phenomenal reviews with the Hatfields and McCoys. People you were amazing.
Loved that.
Yeah, that was again another thing that I didn't worry about doing it. I just thought it was a really important or valid or whatever word you want to put on it. I thought it was worthy. And kind of insisted on it being 3 nights when it was only going to be 2.
Oh.
And I knew it was good. What I didn't know that it would blow up the way it did, and it was incredibly gratifying. I think they thought they might get 2 million people a night to see it, and they got 14 million a night. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's a big underestimation there.
Yeah.
But it was a high class problem for them to have that many people come. And I just am a storyteller. If you boil me down, whether it's a 4-minute song or a movie, and that's been kind of the joy going on the road with the music, because I'll talk about the movies a little bit, and I don't kind of run away from the movies at all when I make the music. The movies are very a part of who I am. But the night I play, it's really about the music for the most part. But I will reference movies and things like that. I'm been happy with how my life has played out.
Like, for example, when you were doing Field of Dreams, was there a specific song that you wrote during that time that you played during the show?
Yeah, there was one. It was called Leland, Iowa. It was about a town in Iowa that was just basically, one of our guys in the band went up to see us. He had relatives there, and if you're sitting with relatives too long, about 20 minutes sometimes is too long. And they were in a little trailer, and he said, "Well, let's go into town." And they had this blank face on there, just this look that they gave him. And he goes, "Come on, let's go in town. We'll get a Coke." And they said, "Well, you can go into town, but you're not going to be able to get anything." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, the town is shut down." And it was all boarded up, this little main street. The town had just gone away.
Wow.
And the song, and they said, "You can go to town, but, you can't spend a dime in Leland, Iowa." So you might look that song up. It's on Untold Truth. And that whole town has adopted that song. We thought they might feel insulted, but they don't. We actually stopped there on a tour about 3 years ago. We just swung the bus by, and the whole town showed up, and we went up into this old barn into a city hall. But the whole town couldn't get in, so we went down to the cafe, and everybody stood on the counters, and we played them 3 or 4 songs, and that song really meant something to them. That sometimes these little towns they just go away, and this town has bounced back since they got ethanol. So, it's just that particular song came from that movie.
What a great story. I can't wait to see you at War Memorial on the 26th, Kevin.
Yeah, we're really looking forward. It'll be the last day I play on this little tour. I can't be away from home too long, and I'm anxious to go home, but I never want to go home till I'm finished, and the 26th will finish us.
You've been married almost 10 years now, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Boy, I got to tell you, the important thing is that I still have the People magazine that has your wedding on the cover.
Yeah. Well, we dated for about 5 or 6 years, so it's been about 16 years, and
wow.
And I have 3 really great little kids out of that, and I got my 3 other big kids to take care of my 3 little kids. So it's I have a really
the best way to do it.
household.
That's it. That's perfect.
I do the same situation in our family, man. It's you got to split those kids up so the old ones can take care of the younger ones.
No, it is, and my house is loud, especially when the band shows up and everybody's in the living room and the little ones got their little guitars and they don't play them, but they just want to be in the middle of all of it.
Sure,
That's
they want to be
awesome.
like Daddy. That's fantastic. Kevin, thank you so much for your time. I have to tell you, I'm so glad you turned out to be normal.
Yeah. Well, how can you tell? I guess you got to take me out to dinner, right?
We'll find out.
Hey, no, you only won that bet because Mickey was a jerk. So.
Okay, that will be edited out.
No, I know him. He's a pretty good guy. Listen, I lost a part like that where the director wanted to choose between 2 actors, to be quite honest, and he couldn't decide, so he decided that he would put us all in the room. There was like 5 or 6 actors, and kind of like watch how we all interacted. Well, I didn't interact at all with the other guys. I was kind of interested in getting the part. I was also on my lunch break. I needed to keep my job. I had to, get back within the hour. So I really didn't interact with them at all. And not that I didn't like them, but I just, I had other things on my mind than trying to just be social. And so I just kind of hung around and I waited. And then he called me that night. He goes, "Look, I kind of watched you guys." I said, "You mean like a detective through a window?" And he said, "Well, kinda." So he was honest. And he goes, "I just looked like the other guy got along with the other guys well." Well, it was a student film at SC, and I didn't do it. It was called Dare Truth or something like that. Well, what happened was that guy graduated, and that little student film became a feature film called Fandango.
Wow.
And he called me back in. He didn't even remember it was me, and I got that part. And so I did that movie. So and then he actually directed Hatfields and McCoys too. So, sometimes you don't get things, and Mickey did really well not getting that movie. So
right.
But we all have a story, and that's just a small one of mine.
Very cool.
Boy, you've got great stories. Have you written a book yet?
I haven't written a book. No, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I mean, I would, I have a lot of great stories, but there's a few of them that you just don't want to talk about.
Oh, geez.
Well, you don't have to write about those, but you can.
A good point, but whoever reads the book goes, "I want to hear those stories."
Well,
Kevin Costner, thank you so much, man.
We'll see you.
All right.
We'll see you at the War Memorial.
Yeah, I really hope
26th.
people show up because it'll be, I think, a fun time.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
day, man.